Welcome to Harry Potter and the Anxious Millennials, a show where we delve week by week into each chapter of the Harry Potter series.
My glasses is dirty, miss. I gotta clean my glasses, miss. Little dirty, filthy little glasses. Oh, that's much better.
I'm just dancing to you talking.
To the beat of your own drum.
Well, this week we read chapter 15. It's terrible. I'm not going to do it. This week we read chapter 15 called Beauxbatons. Wait, what was the last episode? Whose accent were you trying to? I think you're, McGonagall's. And you were like, nope, that's not it at all.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. This is great.
Dumbledore.
Albums, as I put on Instagram. Albums, yeah. Dumbledore. I was like, maybe I should just leave it. But then I was like, no. So crazy when there's an autocorrect like that you like don't even think to look for. Albums.
Right.
Albums, Dumbledore. This week we read chapter 15 called Beauxbatons and Durmstrang. Adam, what happens in this chapter? Please tell us. We are dying to know.
In this chapter, Beauxbatons and Durmstrang, the other two schools in the Triwizard Tournament, arrive at Hogwarts.
Beauxbatons and Durmstrang happen. That's what
happen. They happen. That's it. I had no joke for that sentence, so I just ended it.
No, you don't have to have a joke. You
Adam, don't always have to be on.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's important to remember.
I love that both of our minds went to that. Just give yourself a break.
Give yourself
your
a break.
Authentic self.
So this chapter starts, and Harry wakes up. It's dawn. And he's like...
What is dawn, like 6 a.m.? We thinking? What time is it? September?
Way too early for someone who's 14 to be waking up.
Mm-hmm.
Although consistently in high school, we were always waking up before dawn.
Well, we had to catch the bus.
Yeah. Which is crazy when you think about it.
I lived so close to the school bus, parking center that I was always the first kid picked up and the last kid dropped off.
Oh, no.
Terrible. The only perk of that was that my bus driver, one of my bus drivers would pick me up from my house. She would just be outside the house rather than picking me up on the corner because I was the first kid. So,
yeah.
And the last kid. But yeah, bummer.
So Harry wakes up, it's 6 a.m. And he's like, I gotta write a letter. He's still freaking out about this whole Sirius situation. So he's like, I'll write a letter. Here's what I'll do. So he writes a letter in which he basically is like, LOL, I am kooky quirky. I totally messed up. I'm pretty sure I was when I wrote asleep. That. I was drunk at the time. I was dead at the time.
Wasted.
You disregard. It's an email that's disregard my previous email.
Yeah, right.
I found the document. So he tries to he does this, and then he's like, he has to go to the owlery to send it. So he walks through the castle, up to the owlery, which is the top of the West Tower. And he gets up to the owlery, and Hedwig's like,
yeah, as she should be. Can I tell you something? I never thought when we began. Oh, you were still doing a bit. I'm so sorry.
Who? Because she's an owl.
Right. Thank you. Very good. I would just like to say, when we started this book, I never thought this would be the hill I'd be dying on. But I am so mad every time he interacts with Hedwig now, actively angry.
Yeah, especially because you
were just rude to her.
These magical birds seemingly understand English to some degree. the way they interact, you start to believe that part of their magical quality is they can interpret like what you're saying. So she hears that you're like, this heifer was slow to get back with this letter. And she's like,
and then to get her to do it, you like manipulate. You're like, oh, well, I guess, you can't do it. So I guess I'll ask someone else to do it. I'm like, bitch, go get us a random school owl. You don't deserve Hedwig.
Yeah, because he tries to like make her jealous and be like, well, I guess if you're not feeling well,
yes,
I guess I could always use pig.
I'm like, no,
and if I
don't
was
do
her,
that.
I'd be like, okay, go ahead, send that little fucking tennis ball with a letter. Yeah. Good luck, stupid bitch.
I was like, poor Hedwig. I can't keep talking about it, but every time it happens now, I'm like.
See, I do a 180 on Hedwig in this chapter. We start and I'm pro Hedwig, and by the end of the chapter, I'm back on Harry's side. But we'll get to it.
Oh, you are? Okay. So interested.
So anyway, classes start. And Hermione, they're at breakfast, and Hermione's like, you did what now? You sent a letter to him saying who? What? That's stupid. You're an idiot.
That was a lie.
That was a lie. And the DNA test revealed that was a lie.
Yes, I was just saying Maury. Hermione is Maury in this moment.
Hermione is Maury. And Ron's like, Hermione, you need to let it go. This isn't your fight. Which I don't know. I think that's right. I think it's okay that Ron is like, you've said what you need to say. You don't need to make an argument out of it.
Yeah, well, because it's like his godfather.
And it's already happened. At this point,
what are you going to do?
Hedwig's not coming back, okay? We haven't learned Accio yet. So
unfortunately,
if we knew that, maybe.
Unfortunately, Hedwig got in late last night, had to leave early this morning at dawn.
For real. Imagine.
Give her a canut.
Imagine you're a bird.
Imagine you're a bird.
Imagine you're a bird, and that's where I'm going to end it.
What's it like?
So they go to class.
Hollow bones. How's it feel?
They go to Defense Against the Dark Arts. And Moody's like, well, it's everybody's time. We're a week and a half into school, and it's time for me to put in an unforgivable curse on you.
I forgot it happened this fast. Bitch, I thought it was like towards the end of the book. I was like, oh no.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
This is not okay.
Now, if all of them are unforgivable, you shouldn't do them at all, blah, blah, blah. If we were to rank the unforgivable curses, this is the one that seems most fine. Bad.
Most fun. It feels most fun.
It feels great.
Yeah. I was like, what is happening? I was like, okay. Do you think there's people that are like...
It's good for us to learn what Scientologists feel. And that's, I think, was what is described.
Oh, God, no.
I'll bleep it.
BBLM. Wait, no, what is it? BB? Is it BBL?
Brazilian butt lift?
No. Multi-level
MLM.
Marketing Scheme?
MLM. Brazilian butt lift multi-marketing.
BBLM. Brazilian butt lift marketing. I mean,
well,
who's to say?
Somebody's got to market it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nobody's going to know about it. Word of mouth.
Yeah. Dang it. I totally forgot what I was going to say, though. The fact that they were talking about, like, how Harry was like, oh, I don't want to skip too far ahead. But when Harry is talking about how it kind of feels nice and there like wasn't a care in the world, I'm like, there have to be people that are like, can you just Imperious me for a day so I don't feel anxious?
So he starts with Dean. Hermione tries to be like, maybe we shouldn't. And Moody's like, maybe you should just leave. She's like, well, I didn't say. Okay. We don't need to jump to the nth degree. Good Lord.
Yeah,
Just
jeez.
providing a counterpoint here.
Yeah.
So he does Dean first. Dean hops and sings the national anthem around the room. Lavender imitates a squirrel.
What's their national anthem? God Save the Queen?
Yeah.
Michael's in the living room right now like, I can't believe she asked that.
And then Neville does gymnastics, which work.
I mean, work, but like he had to have pulled a hamstring, honey. There's no way.
I have no idea.
I think he's just like
know.
Incredibly flexible, Neville.
Maybe, I mean, there are those random, like, there are people who genuinely just like by doing nothing, they're still flexible.
Are flexible.
They just have like, it's so frustrating. I am the opposite of that. I could stretch for years and I would be like, well, today I've touched my knees and we're counting that as a win.
It's like is it your lower back for you? Like my
it's
lower
so
back.
Tight.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. I don't know.
Drives me nuts.
So Moody goes to toot on Harry, and the description is, it was the most wonderful feeling. Harry felt a floating sensation as though every thought and worry in his head was wiped gently away, leaving nothing but a vague, untraceable happiness. He stood there feeling immensely relaxed, only dimly aware of everyone watching him. This is what therapy is. I hope everybody in the wizarding world realizes that's what happens when you seek treatment.
It's either that or you leave and you're like, I'm undone.
Yeah, or I've become Jello.
Yeah.
So then he's like instructed, basically, he gets this like thought in his head where he's like, I should jump on the desk. But Harry, he's better than everybody else, and she won't let you forget. So Harry,
yeah. How did you feel about that? I guess for me, I was like, really?
It was annoying because it's already like, yeah, he already survived one of these. Like, we don't.
Is that why?
Is that maybe naturally?
That's what we're supposed to think?
I don't think so. I think it's just a way for her to describe what the actual, because like there's no other way, since it's all internal, for her to have explained what it would be like to kind of try to fight it if Harry had just like done whatever. You know what I mean?
It's just weird that it's like the first time ever.
I know
he doesn't fully fight or fully like break out of it.
Yeah. But by the fourth time he did.
Right. At the end of the class. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. I was like, maybe like the fourth lesson where he's performing this on them, fine. But
yeah, they learned about this spell in the last chapter and Harry's already defeated it. So I don't know. Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
I get it. From the perspective of, like, in order to explain what it is, I get that, like, she had to kind of, there's no other person that we, like, are internally aware of what their thoughts are.
So it had to be
him.
I
guess for that, it had to be him, but I don't know. It did like bump me, and I think there could have been a better way to describe it, but whatever.
Anyway, the voice that they're talking about, I can't remember if we've talked about this before. Are your thoughts like it's a voice in your head, or is it, there's two, the theory is there's two different types. It's just like abstract, or they're like, it's like your voice or a voice.
I don't hear a voice.
But I
just have like thoughts.
The thoughts are words in your head though, or it's just like an abstract thing?
I've never thought about it.
Maybe you're an abstract thought person then, Adam. Whoa.
But I do, because RJ talks to himself a lot. I'm going to put him on blast right on this podcast. RJ talks to himself a lot, and I'm always like, that's so funny that you do that. And there are, like, I'll talk to myself in the shower, or I'll, like, work through, like, if I was, like, it's the thing where you, like, work through an argument, and you, like, say all the things you should have said in the moment. And you're like, yeah, I fucking got him. But I don't really ever talk to myself outside of that. So maybe I'm an abstract.
Maybe you are.
I don't know.
I should find the article and send it to you. I am very much a inner voice person. So when Harry was talking about the inner voice or whatever, and how I was like, oh, this is like my inner critic and then like my child self. That's what it reminds me of. It's like, do this. And then the inner critic is like, no. Do this. It'll be fun. No. Anyone else relate? Listeners, write me and tell me, because Adam is just staring at me. Adam with his abstract thoughts cannot understand. But that's
Sorry,
what that reminded me of.
I'm too cerebral for you.
My cerebralness, you know.
Cerebrium.
Cereal.
So Harry's supposed to jump on the desk. And then there's another voice that's like, no, I don't think you should. I think that might not be a good idea. I think that's a dumb idea, in fact. I think it's his inner saboteur.
Is it though? Because it keeps him safe?
Sure. It's the opposite.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not even worth it.
Well, he would have been safe if he had just listened.
So maybe
the
it's
point
more
is,
like
don't argue. That's the point of this.
It's his gut. We can go with that. Your gut is like trying to intervene to be like, no.
Your instinct.
No. Yeah. Your instinct is being like, no.
And he has strong instincts because he's Harry Potter and everything about him is special. So he tries to fight it, and then this okay.
Oh, yeah. Say it.
The next thing Harry felt was considerable pain. He had both jumped and tried to prevent himself from jumping. Okay. The result was that he'd smashed headlong into the desk, knocking it over, and by the feeling in his legs, fractured both his kneecaps.
I knew. Yep. Say it.
And I was like, I couldn't. It's not written specific enough for me to know if it's a metaphor or if this boy actually fractured his kneecaps.
Why would you say? Obviously, we're going to take that literally. What are you doing?
This is a book series in which 2 books ago he lost all the bones out of his arm. So anything you say, I'm going to believe.
Yeah, so take literally.
The fact that the class continues and nothing happens, I was like, oh, I guess he just like, it hurt really bad. Like it wasn't. Oh, I was like so bumped by that moment. I think that's probably my biggest bump in this chapter was I was like, wait, Joe, what are you trying to say? Just be more clear. And also clarity.
An even better reason for why he should not be practicing this spell on students. The student that did fight back against it nearly fractured both his kneecaps. Moody.
So yeah. So then Moody's very proud of Harry.
Do we want to get into this?
Well, because this is like, it's hard.
Why is he doing this at this point?
So
to really understand.
So there's 2 ways to look at it. Well, I don't know if that's true. So there's the like obvious, like he's teaching him how to overcome it. And by the end of the class, he's learned how to fight off the Imperious Curse. Or it's just that he's like publicly torturing Harry Potter in front of everyone and probably getting like enjoyment from it.
I think it's that he's teaching
Spoilers, Barty Crouch Jr. is Mad-Eye Moody, so we just have to say that off the top.
I think that he is... Why is he... Is he teaching him this? Is he spending so much time on him with Harry because it's all a part of the plan to get him to the end of the Triwizard Tournament? Because that's why he's there. That's been the plan in his mind from the beginning. Is that what we're supposed to believe? Because I'm like, well, you're the one that goes in is imperiousing the other contenders or the other champions. So why are you worried about Harry? Like, he's just worried someone else is going to try to Imperious him? I don't know. That was the best reason I could come up with in my own mind.
It seems like, okay, because I don't know. So now we're going to get in the weeds. No one knows about the prophecy except for Voldemort, right? And Dumbledore? Those are the only two people that know about the prophecy about Harry?
Right now, yes.
Okay. So maybe because
and
no
Snape.
one knows, and
but
Snape.
he didn't hear it, I don't think. Or he heard like part of it.
So no one knows why he wanted to kill Harry. Everyone just thinks that he went in to kill the Potters because the Potters were part of like the anti-Voldemort movement. Right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what everyone's logical thought progression is as to why he attacks the Potters.
Right. No one knows that like he was specifically targeting Harry.
Right.
Really. Yeah.
That's not clear. He just would have been the other person in the house that happened to die that night. And he just somehow survived. And nobody knows why. And nobody knows why Voldemort was there in the first place. So from what they glean, it has to be that. Mm-hmm. So maybe Barty Crouch Jr. thinks that like he can train Harry to like flip to be on Voldemort's side. Like maybe I don't know. Like
because I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at like he's like, hey,
what if?
Us. Yeah.
It's a very
I know
like
tried to kill you, but like
get Ray to come to the dark side in the sequels. It's very that energy because otherwise it doesn't make sense why you would train the person you want to die to be able to fight off an unforgivable curse.
That's why I think it's just to get to. I just think it's to get to the end of the Triwizard Tournament. That's the only thing I can think of.
It's weird. I don't get it, but it makes for great reading because it's interesting.
Sure.
So anyway, class ends. They leave. Ron is still skipping because he's still feeling the effects.
He's not as strong as Harry.
Right.
So
I wonder what Hermione's would have been. Maybe she did a tap dance.
Oh, that'd be cute. I bet she's really good at tap dancing.
I bet she is too. So then they keep going to classes. All their coursework has gotten much harder. McGonagall's like, y'all are not ready for your owls. And they said, our owls are next year. It is second week of school. Can we take a breather?
No, I like that she's like, you think this is bad? Oh, well.
Oh.
But in her McGonagall. Well.
So they've nailed their divination homework. Now we get some of my favorite stuff, which is just like a brisk run of all of what's going on in their classes.
Yeah.
So they nailed their divination homework. Trelawney's like, listen, I've never read anything better. You've died multiple times in these predictions. I want to see it again next month.
Truly outdone
come up
yourself.
with bigger, better. She literally is like, I need you to write the Final Destination franchise because this is absolutely, I'm gobsmacked by this. Maybe you're driving behind a logging truck.
This is
Who knows?
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh. This is her entertainment for the weekend. You know, grading papers.
There all by
and then she gets to theirs.
Herself. She doesn't come down.
No.
She reads the fanfic that these students write, and that's important.
And that's important.
So Professor Binns is doing History of Magic, Goblin Rebellions of the 18th century. Remember that because goblins are a big part of the new game.
Something later. Oh, the game.
The new open world game. Professor Snape is making them research antidotes because he's probably going to poison them. Professor Flitwick makes them read 3 more books. 3
more books total? I thought it was chapters. Makes them read 3 more books?
Professor Flitwick had asked them to read 3 extra books in preparation for their lesson on summoning charms.
What is Flitwick's first name? Phineas?
Phileas.
Phileas?
Phileas Flitwick.
Who pissed you off?
Philly.
Who hurt you?
So then they go to Care of Magical Creatures, and Hagrid's like, you know what you should do if you're having so much fun? I know you all are, actually. So what you should do is you should come on down, alternating weeknights, and like come and feed them. Come and rub their tummies, their little sucker tummies, their stinger heads, and just really get to know them. Like really just really care. Put the care in Care of Magical Creatures. And Malfoy's why the fuck would I do that? And once again... Is he my favorite character? He could be. He might be. He probably is. And Hagrid's like, oh, I heard you got turned into a fucking ferret, so don't talk to me, loser. And Malfoy shuts up. Now, I do want to know, why did Malfoy take this class again? Because it is not a required class.
Yeah. What are the other options? Arithmancy,
Muggle Studies, Divination... Those, I think, are the 4 we know about. Runes, magical runes.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's also a class.
Would he... I mean, he would have been better off taking divination. Now I know why Harry and Ron are taking divination, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. So yeah, why did he? He should have definitely... Him and Hagrid shouldn't have ever had to interact with each other ever again.
Hagrid should have been allowed to be like, I don't want him in my class. He tried to get me fired last year.
Yeah.
Also, he disregarded what I told him to do and almost got himself killed. He shouldn't even be allowed to take the class anyway because he clearly doesn't.
Right. Yeah. Put himself and the other students at risk.
Where is the administration on this? And by the administration, I mean the Biden administration. Where is the Biden administration on this subject?
Yeah, the school governors.
You know, his dad's on the school governors. If he wanted to drop he could drop potions if he wanted to, I bet.
I think he got kicked off, didn't he, after book 2 when he threatened everyone?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember. I don't know if that's true. But yeah, I mean, especially just with the fact that his family is so loaded, he would be able to be like, let me give you this check. Sorry, excuse me. Let me give you this bag of heavy gold because we don't have checks in the wizarding world.
Right. We don't
to bribe you. Yeah. To bribe you to, not have my son in that class. Hagrid to be like, I will happily not have him in my class.
Great. I'll take a pay cut if that means that I don't have Malfoy in my class.
Well.
Oh, that's funny that I don't think Hagrid's getting paid, so I don't even think that's a conversation.
Yes, he is. He totally is. Dumbledore is his boss.
I think he's getting paid to be the gamekeeper, and then Dumbledore was like, oh, if you want some extra responsibility, I'm happy to let you be the teacher.
There's no way. Dumbledore was like, you're going to get a full teacher's
there are
pension.
Slaves at Hogwarts.
No, because it
Anything
is Hagrid.
Is possible.
Because it is Hagrid. There's no way. Dumbledore would be like, I'll give you whatever. If you're Team Adam, write into our Instagram. And if you're Team Arri, write into our Instagram.
Either way, write into our Instagram.
Do you think Hagrid is getting paid or not? I will do a poll when we post this episode. I'll be like, Hagrid, is Hagrid getting paid? Yes, no.
So they go back up to the school, and there's a sign in the entrance hall that's like, guess what? A week from today, girlies, 2 schools coming on in. And everyone is like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then Ernie McMillan is like, I gotta go. I have to go tell Cedric. And that's very me. That's huge me energy of being like, I have to tell somebody. And so Ron is like, oh, why? I bet dummy Cedric is probably going to try to enter the tournament. What a dummy. And Hermione's like, why? Because he beat you. He's a dummy because he beat you in Quidditch. That's why.
Yeah, you're calling him why do you think he's an idiot? This is so stupid. I was like,
And then he's like, you
doing
just
very
like him
well.
because he's attractive. And she's literally like, no, I like him because he's smart.
He's a
Ronald.
prefect, bitch.
Ronald. So blah 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 blah. Everybody's all a Twitter. They're on Twitter and they're all a Twitter. And the castle is suddenly sparkling. It's like when your regional manager is coming to your store and the store manager is like, I need every shirt folded perfectly.
Yeah.
Get out the folding boards and do it 7 times until it's perfect. It's very that energy. And now that we are aware that there are house elves in the school, we know who's making the school look perfect. So anyway, I'm just going to ignore the Fred and George bit.
Great.
Because it doesn't matter. Because really nothing's advanced past the last time they did this, which was, I think, the last chapter or 2 chapters ago. Maybe
2 chapters ago. I can't remember.
Dumb.
Before Unforgivable Curses, probably.
Dumb. So they're trying to figure out the situation with the Triwizard Tournament. Now, this is what I don't understand. The Triwizard Tournament has to be documented in some capacity. I refuse to believe that there's no way these people know, like, who judges are, what a Goblet of Fire is. Like,
well, they haven't done it in so long, so maybe this is a completely new structure. Like, everything is just completely different or completely
like
new.
the Goblet of Fire isn't. I think the Goblet of Fire has to be old.
No, isn't that the whole thing, that it was like he chose it to be he got that to be objective this time? I have no proof of that, but that was what I assumed.
Oh,
Maybe
I guess I just assumed because
it's,
yeah, we'll have to wait. I think it's next chapter, but I thought it was old because it felt very like the Sorting Hat, so I just assumed it was like like a similar idea,
a staple, yeah,
right. Well, anyway, so Hermione's answering questions that nobody knows the answer to because she's obviously read Hogwarts: A History. She's now told us in every single book of this series that she has read Hogwarts: A History. And then she has some great one-liners, and she's like, or maybe I should call it a revised history of Hogwarts. Or maybe it's called a highly biased and selective history of Hogwarts, which glosses over the nastier aspects of the school. Now, I don't want to say that Hermione's number one skill is comedy.
I don't think anyone would.
Because these jokes aren't tight, but they're pointed.
Just because of how she's written that she's not good at comedy. I don't think there is a funny female character in this book, Adam.
Not in this book. I would say the closest funny female character is probably Luna. And that's just because she's like quirky.
Are you laughing at her or laughing with her? I don't know. In terms of the comedic characters, it's always the boys.
Yeah. It's always the redheads.
Always.
So then we go into a whole bit about Spew and how Hermione's just even more into it. She's on the warpath. Neville joined because he was scared of her. And then it has this bit where it's like, and then a couple other people were like, seemed mildly interested, but most were like turned off. And it frustrated me that like, this would have been the perfect time to introduce Luna into this book series.
Hello. She would have totally been there.
She would have been vice president. She would have, been. I just
missed opportunity.
Why is Hermione the only person that cares about this? In a lot of the students' defense, especially Muggle students, they have no idea what a house elf is anyway. They've probably never seen one.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, they're like, what are you talking about?
That's about it. Okay, anyway.
The Creevy brothers should have signed up.
The Creevy brothers. Tell them Harry's in the group, and they would have been like, oh. That's pretty much what happens to Dumbledore's army.
Yeah.
So they get into an argument with the twins about how the house elves, again, they want to be enslaved. They're happy. And then Hermione's like, they're uneducated and brainwashed. So anyway,
It's
we're gonna
just
move
like,
on. We're
oh
gonna move
my
on. We're
God.
gonna move on.
Yeah,
We're gonna move
there's
on.
no reason to even talk about it. It's just like, girl.
And then the conversation is interrupted because Hedwig is back. It's been a few weeks, but Hedwig is back. She flies in. I love the idea that anytime Hedwig pops in while the morning owl post is happening, that she is like full, like has a spotlight on her. Like all the lights turn off and then it's just you see Hedwig flying in. You're like, oh, bitch is here. So
You don't like my interpretation?
I loved it.
Oh, look at her. Oh my God, you were frozen like that. Oh,
So
wow, look at that white towel. Oh, wow.
Wow. tens across the board.
Once again, Harry.
So Harry gets a letter from Sirius.
Everyone would appreciate your owl more than you. They are right now.
That's true. Harry gets a letter from Sirius, and Sirius is like, okay, so I'm not an idiot. I know.
Nice try, bitch.
I've had a lot of time to figure out things while I've been stuck in Azkaban for 11 years, so maybe not. But I'm in the country, you know, I'm nearby now. Don't worry about me. It's gonna be fine.
I have returned.
And next time when you need to send me a letter, like we should start switching up the owls. She's gonna get mad about that later too. So Hedwig
is her right.
Hedwig is tired, right?
Mm-hmm.
She went on a trip.
Bacon.
She went on a trip to find Sirius. She came back. The next morning he had her go out again to find Sirius. Like the girl is tired. Your girl is exhausted. So he gives her some bacon. He gives her some food lovingly. Very sweet. This moment is very sweet. The moment I 180 on Hedwig is when she leans her beak into his orange juice goblet and takes a drink. I was like,
oh my God, that's so funny. I thought that moment was so cute. I love that you were horrified.
Okay, well, I'm not touching that fucking goblet anymore. It's one thing to like pick food off of something and like hand it to her. It's another thing. It would be like if your dog like drank out of a water cup and then you were like, oh, and I also too will now drink out of this water cup. Insanity.
Did he drink? Does it talk about him drinking afterward? I just thought maybe he was like, oh, okay.
No, it didn't.
It's all for me.
The idea of it was still horrible enough because how do you get another cup?
I don't know.
They haven't learned Accio. How do you summon another cup?
There's a house elf down below who's like, hey, like brings you a new cup. Here you go.
Horrible. It was so grody to me.
I love that that's what made you do the 180. I was like, what did I miss? What did she do? She gets
send her out again just for fun. So anyway,
Boo.
so we're finally at the moment that the chapter is literally about. It's taken 9, 10, 14 pages
we
to get
knew
here.
This would, at least it happens, but we knew something like this was going to happen.
So
within the last pages.
Beauxbatons and Durmstrang are finally arriving today. Everybody gathers on the grounds to watch them arrive. Mm-hmm. No one has any idea what they're supposed to be looking for. How are they arriving? People are like, oh, they're going to come on broomsticks. No, that's crazy. It's too far. Maybe they'll apparate. Maybe they'll port key. No one mentions flu powder.
They don't like flu powder is like the poor man's travel, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. And you know what? I'm the poor man that's traveling by flu powder.
I would be like, huh? I'm not riding on a broom for hours. I'm not coming up through the lake.
There's literally a method of transportation that is instantaneous and doesn't involve you like potentially splinching yourself.
Yeah. Hello.
How is there a question? It's fine.
Missed opportunity. Implementing flu network like everywhere. Hello.
Yes.
Obvious choice.
Right. A global flu network.
Yeah.
Let's expand it. It's the internet.
There are so many fireplaces in the UK alone, like just in
everywhere in the world.
Come on.
Fire is how man survived.
Famously, you and I both did not have fireplaces, so.
Yeah, that's true. We would never get anywhere. We'd have to walk to somebody's house.
Yeah.
So my favorite line in this book, I've decided as of this chapter, is everybody's so excited and they see something flying toward them from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, what is that? Oh my God. And this first year is like, it's a dragon! And everyone's like, well, you're insane. This is the best line in this book. Dennis Creevy goes, don't be stupid. It's a flying house. Dennis, you got it.
Wizard of Oz reference. Thank you, Dennis.
Dennis got it because it's a flying carriage that's as big as a house. So why not?
Basically.
It's pulled by like a bunch of palomino horses. I'll show the artwork for the viewers on YouTube. If you are merely a listener to this podcast, the joke's on you. The joke is on you, honey.
Palomino Pegasus, honey. Pegasus, sis.
Pegasus, ma. So, this is Beauxbatons. Beauxbatons is here. It lands not well from the sounds of it. It lands abruptly.
What do you think it was like in the carriage?
Yeah.
How? There has to be some magic charm where they don't feel anything.
Right. They're like on a, what are those like those things that you hold that you put your your phone on so that it doesn't ever like move. Like if you're walking, it doesn't feel you walking.
Oh. Yeah, what is that?
An equalizer? I don't know what it's called.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway.
Not a tripod.
It's that spell. So
a gimbal.
So anyway, a large woman walks out and her feet are as big as sleds, children's sleds, which I thought was a very funny description of how big someone was.
Trash bin, lid-sized hands
and
sled-sized feet.
Yeah.
Are sleds different than like, you're thinking of the type of sled I'm thinking of, right? Like the plastic ones that could sit like two little kiddos. That's what I'm picturing.
The round one?
No, it'd be like more of an oval shape. Kind of like almost a wagon shape, but it's like a sled.
The first one I thought of was like the circular one.
Yeah.
Where it's like a little
spinning,
dip.
Right.
The little dip in the middle.
Well, that would make, still, that's so big.
That's so big. This woman is
big
huge.
For feet.
It's so funny to watch the movies now because obviously like Maxime and Hagrid are big. But like when you read the books, they're supposed to be like
yes.
Big.
Big.
So Madame Maxime gets out and and this is our first drag queen in the entire series. Officially.
Cauldron Bottoms and Maxime go way back.
We've made jokes before, but Madame Maxime is clearly a drag queen. And that's important. She steps out in a black satin gown, draped in opals. She's just wearing pageant jewelry. She's got like a full lace front on, like done into like a huge bouffant.
Like pageant. Yes.
It's giving regalia.
Yes.
She does absolutely. When the pageant girls on Drag Race, when they walk down the runway and they like love books, so they walked in the S shape. It's that.
Yeah.
That's what she's doing. So she comes out and then a dozen students enter the carriage.
Exit the carriage.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Exit the carriage.
Enter.
Everybody gets in, and then they're all going to Beauxbatons.
Do you know what I thought when it talked about how there was the boy that came and like opened the door? I was like, young Adam.
That was me.
Yeah. Yeah. And your little like Beauxbatons outfit.
Yeah.
So cute. How old is he? Like 12? Yeah, for sure.
So then I was like, okay, are these just the number of students who are eligible because they're all 17 or older?
Right.
Or is this the entirety of Beauxbatons?
Is she a private school?
Right.
Beauxbaton?
Which it's even crazier. If that's the whole school, it's even crazier that they ran into students of Madame X teams at the World Cup because there's 12 of them.
Great point. There's no way. I think that maybe there's more throughout this, right?
Why would only 12 get out? I mean, the chapter is made to essentially say she gets out, students get out, and then the horses are like taken to go be taken care of.
Yeah.
So like no one else comes out unless they're just like, you can't come out until dinner. You're all underage and we will be debaucherous for the next hour and a half.
Okay, wait, this is my next question then. So if there's 12 students there with her and then all the other students were left at Beauxbatons, she's staying for the Triwizard Tournament. Are the kids just the Beauxbatons and the Durmstrang kids that are there? Are they like learning in the Hogwarts classes? Like what's going? Are they not? Who is back at Beauxbatons making sure everything's okay with the school? She's the headmistress. What's happening? This makes me have so many questions.
We'll never know.
I don't like it. There should have been more than 12 kids.
Yeah, why? And it would have been fun to have like 200 kids then poured out of a carriage.
Yes.
Like that's funny. And you've already given us the idea that tents are like, you can look
Even
at a
just,
tent
like,
and on the inside it's a lot bigger.
Even like 50. Like,
fine.
come on. Why 12? Why 12? That's such a specific.
And also, if there is only 12 students, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go with the idea that there are 12 students at Beauxbatons. Why is this France's preeminent wizarding school?
Thank you.
Crazy.
That doesn't make any sense.
Thirdly, not all of them are over 17. If the whole school is 12 students, not all of them are 17. So is it just like, well, it's going to be Fleur or what's his Joachim, and one of the two of them is going to be the Beauxbatons champion. So you got a 50-50 shot of potentially dying in the Triwizard Tournament.
Oh my gosh.
And what if neither of them want to put in? What if both of them are like, I don't want to put my name in the Goblet of Fire. I don't want to do that. Then you just don't have a Durmstrang. Then you just don't have a Beauxbatons champion.
This is apparently why Fleur was the Beauxbatons champion. She was the only one that they all were like.
Madame
Fleur
Maxime
will
put her
submit.
name in.
Yeah. I was like, Fleur will submit.
Someone has to.
Someone has to represent our school.
Right.
We all 12 of us came here.
And it's important to remember that in the Triwizard Tournament, Fleur is the worst of the four.
Don't even get me started.
It's so annoying.
I'm going to do, I have like a whole excerpt prepared for that.
It's the worst. I hate it so much. I've hated it every time I watch the movie. I hate it.
I was literally but I won't even say anything now because we will definitely talk about, I'll talk about that during like the first or second task. I hate it.
Yeah.
So stupid. But once again, she is revealing herself. Do you know what I mean? Like it's another moment where it's like, girl.
And it would have been so smart to have like each of the three actual Triwizard champions win one of, like Cedric wins the last one, Crumb wins maybe the dragons, and she wins like the swimming challenge or whatever.
Right.
But like Harry, by doing extra stuff, like happens to like keep getting ahead and whatever like that. But like she doesn't do.
Of course she doesn't. Doesn't.
It's fine. So, blah, 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 blah. They're like, oh, Hagrid will take care of your horses. And she's like, well, my horses actually only drink single malt whiskey. So, I hope you have a lot of that on hand because these are big boys over here. But we're going to go inside and warm up. So,
I love that he was like, do you want to wait out here? Do you want to go inside? And she was like, oh, inside immediately, please.
She's like, I'm good. Thanks. We arrived.
We are here, okay?
I'm not waiting for Durmstrang. The 13 of us are not waiting for Durmstrang to show.
It's 17. It's literally 17. 13 members.
Yes.
13 people.
Yes.
It's the whole school.
So anyway, then Durmstrang arrives. And this one is a little less exciting. It's like a ship comes out of the lake. I mean,
there was the moment of like,
yeah, Lee Jordan is like, look at the lake!
Do you know what is so funny to me, though? Did this make you laugh? Like, so the Beauxbatons kids get there, and then literally this is what happens. They're like, okay, bye, see you inside.
Yeah.
Like, no one knows. So they're all just like.
Well, I also like the idea that no one then is like, wow, Beauxbat. Like, no one talks about what they just saw. They're just like, okay, cool, bye.
Yeah.
Where do we think the next one's coming from?
Oh man.
So ship comes out of the water, and this is actually the best line in this book.
Oh, yep.
The headmaster of Durmstrang, his name is Karkaroff. I'll tell you right now, his name is Igor Karkaroff. He comes off first, and he says hello to Dumbledore. Dumbledore says hello back, and this is the description that we get. Sorry. Karkaroff had a fruity, unctuous voice.
I didn't look up. I figured you would know what unctuous means. I didn't look up unctuous.
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
Let me look it up real quick.
I did verify with Michael that fruity I was like, what do you think of when someone says fruity is a word? And he was like, either like fruit flavored or like flamboyant. I was like, okay.
That makes sense because the unctuous means of a person excessively or ingratiatingly flattering or oily.
Oily. Okay.
And she's used that word a lot, so I'm actually glad she went with a different word this time.
With unctuous, yeah. Mm-hmm. Unctuous.
So he's just supposed to be like a
fruity,
sweet, like a charmer,
sweet talker. Yeah. Well, then, honey,
it's not how he is played in the film.
Not Karkaroff, Karkaron. On. He is on.
And then he looks up at Hogwarts. He smiles at the school, and they note that his teeth are rather yellow. And I was like, ooh, for it to be noticeable.
For you to be a wizard?
For you to be a wizard. There's literal magic.
And have nasty teeth? Sorry.
And a front. That
is a very
to the dental community. You know, Hermione and her dentist parents were like,
you know it.
Okay, girl.
Yeah. Hermione's writing a letter that night. Mom and Dad, whoa. I have to tell you about these rotted twofers I saw today.
You should have seen the incisors this guy had. I swear to God. Gross.
There is absolutely no excuse for this. Hello, you are a wizard, sir.
We do not get a description of how many students there are for Durmstrang. Like you get for Beauxbatons. We just know that
Vicky's there.
One of them is Victor Crumb, and he's got a slight head cold.
Oh, Adam will warm your head up for you, Victor.
Honey, I'll warm both your heads up if you want.
Yeah. I was talking about that head.
And that's it. That's the chapter.
Wow, very nice. Thank you. I was so excited to make my Karkaron joke, so I'm glad that did well. All right. Well, that wraps up this chapter. Next week, we'll be reading chapter 16 called The Goblet of Fire. We do not have a review.
It's okay.
Boo-hoo. No, we had a good 2 weeks. So
we had a good 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Thank you, listeners.
Don't
you
stop.
can find the pod. Don't stop. But you can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you find your Yes, this is what you were doing at the end of the last episode. It's like vibing to the outro.
Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher.
You can find the podcast at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you find your podcasts, as well as video versions on the Ampliverse YouTube channel. Not this. Knocks this. As always, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so that we can get a perfect Newt score. 5 stars only, or else... Let me do one off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Or else... Yeah. I don't know. Or else you'll...
Be imperial.
Yeah, you'll almost
shatter
fracture both your
yeah.
kneecaps. Yeah, there we go. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at HBAnxious, Instagram at HBAnxious, and YouTube at The Ampliverse. We are hosted on Anchor and recorded on Zencaster, so thank you to both of them. And we are a proud member of The Ampliverse. Check them out at theampliverse.com. Thank you, Adam.
Dumbledore.
Yeah. And as always, Dumbledore.